In today's world, nothing is for granted, and especially so if you trade on Polymarket. Hi, I'm Profit, and today I want to tell you a story about how I lost over $3,000 betting on the Gaza ceasefire on Polymarket. I'm a full-time prediction market trader with over 450% year-to-date returns. I also run an X account on Profit Notes when I comment on a daily basis on global events, and I run a newsletter on profitnotes.com where I publish my thesis on trades, where I publish my performance and all kinds of other content around prediction markets. So make sure to follow, subscribe, leave a like and a comment if you have any insights. And now jumping straight into it, today I want to do a post-mortem video. So I want to show you why I bet on no, what was my rationale, what happened before the ceasefire, and to see why the ceasefire was ultimately achieved. I want to poke holes in my thesis and to see if I could do anything better, if I could avert the losses, and to learn for the future. That's what profitable traders do, and I wanted to share this one with you. So jumping straight into it, my thesis was pretty simple. This is the payslip just to show you the reality of the situation, and the summary of my thesis, where I said that my fair odds for a ceasefire were 10% by the end of October. Well, 10% is not zero, but let's see if I was really right. So the thesis I was running with was a pretty simple one. This is the thesis I've been running with since March, since the initial ceasefire was broken. And simple because it's based on fundamentals. So on the US and Israel side, they were winning, they were getting control of the Strip, they were eliminating Hamas. And my assessment is that they were 6 to 12 months away from actually winning the war. On the other side, Hamas basically didn't want to have a ceasefire because considering the position of Israel, they wanted ceasefire in return for all the hostages. And the hostages were the only real leverage Hamas had. So essentially a ceasefire meant peace, or rather surrender, and Muslims during jihad cannot surrender. They prefer to be martyrs. It's shameful to actually surrender, so it's a deeply rooted cultural reason that Hamas couldn't accept a ceasefire that was also acceptable to Israel and the US. So the combination of all of these factors and the fact that the job was almost finished just made me even more sure that this time is just another theatrical effort by Trump that is not actually backed by the fundamental reality on the ground. So you may see this is a very good thesis. That's what I thought as well. But what went wrong? And I believe now, after analyzing a bit, that it's not Trump. Oh, definitely not Trump. It's not Hamas. It's not Israel. It's not the US as a whole. I think the main reason I lost the bet is actually China. Because the US and China are actually at war right now. It's a Cold War. It's a war through proxies. It's a war focused on supply chains. The Ukraine war is part of this Cold War. The Gaza war was also part of this war. Ukraine was mostly controlled. The Ukraine war was mostly controlled and is by Russia rather than the US and the West. And the Gaza war was the one that was the US-led effort. It was led because the US and the West, including Israel, wanted to control the region, the ports there, the resources. And before October 7th, there was Hezbollah in Lebanon, there was strong Iran, there was Hamas. And now, 2 years later, we have nothing like that. So, basically, it was almost over. But anyway, the war was led by US. It hurt China because it hurt Iran, and Iran and China are allied at the moment. It also hurt China because of the trade route through the Red Sea, where the most of the trade goes. So from the geopolitical point of view, it was beneficial for the US and the West to actually keep this war going. That's also probably why many countries didn't actually do anything in terms of the genocide. They were all calling. It was all part of the stunt. But you may ask, why do I even say that China is in a war with the US? And the reason is pretty simple, because China, along with Russia, Iran, North Korea, as well as some lesser allies like, for example, Brazil or South Africa, they basically challenged the US, and they challenged the US in two main spheres. The first one is trade, and this happened back in 2013 when Xi Jinping announced the Belt and Road Initiative, and the Belt and Road Initiative was and is aiming to take control over trade between China, Asia, Africa, and Europe. And control of the trade is actually the US job, plain and simple. They facilitate trade around the world, and this project, through building trading infrastructure like ports or railways around Asia, Africa, and Europe, was aiming to take part of this job from the US in the hands of China. And not only that, China also doubled down in 2015 when they announced Made in China 2025, because this was a challenge to the US and core allies' business. China announced that they're no longer interested in being the sweatshop of the world. They wanted to produce high value add stuff. They wanted to produce high tech stuff. They wanted to have high margins across all different types of industries, electronic equipment, as you see, farming, but also software, big machinery, ships, cars, medical devices, you name it. So they were challenging the Amazons, the Googles, but also the Volkswagens, the Bosches, the Philipses of the world, of the Western world. And it posed, and it still poses, all kinds of risk to the Western industries. As you see, for example, now China is dominating the electric vehicle markets, and Germany is paying a very high price for it. It will pay even higher price in the near future, as it's looking that the general car industry is just going into Chinese hands. So with this brief intro into the Cold War 2.0, the main reason that the Gaza war stopped at this moment is that just a day after the ceasefire was announced, we all learned that there is a rare earth embargo announced by China. And the story is that from now on, every component, every element, every product that contains any amount of Chinese rare earth minerals needs to get approval for export or even re-export from China. So China essentially is asserting control over all kinds of stuff that is being produced around the world using Chinese rare earth components. And as you see on the chart next to it, China controls around 60% of total rare earth production, so extraction basically, because it's mining. And it's not on the chart here, but China controls also over 70% of rare earth refining. So basically, China is almost a monopolist on the market. The reason there is very simple, because rare earths can pollute the environment pretty heavily when they are processed or mined. No one else really wants to do it. China 50 years ago even wanted to do this just to differentiate itself, to earn some money, and they've gained expertise there, and that's where we are. So some of the people on X, some of the people in the news, they are saying that the Chinese embargo is a nothing burger, but I would say it's not, because even the Pentagon itself is taking it seriously. It's going on a shopping spree of sorts, buying minerals. And they stopped the Gaza war by the Gaza ceasefire, because they see that now they need to focus their resources only on the most important topics. And since the Gaza war was almost done, almost finished, the job was almost done there, they figured that they shouldn't spend so much resources there anymore. They should focus on Ukraine, they should focus on Venezuela, they should focus on the Indo-Pacific, and leave Gaza be, because for now Iran is weak, Hezbollah is no more, Hamas is no more, and Houthis are Houthis. Houthis are not able to actually hurt anyone. So now the main question is, if we learned about the Chinese embargo only after the ceasefire, because just one more info. The governments, so the deep states, the world leaders, the militaries around the world, and also the people that are actually in the rare earth supply chains, they knew before, right? Like, they didn't learn it from the news. They knew 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month before it happened. There must have been signs. And also the governments must have some kind of intel. So they knew before, and they decided that the Gaza war is getting cut, plain and simple. But was there any chance to see this beforehand, to see any signs? And I believe there were 2 opportunities to not sell the position, because back before learning this, I wouldn't sell. But I think there are 2 signs that should have shown me that I should limit my exposure. So looking at Polymarket, I bought majority of my positions around here. So this was the initial spike during the conference in the White House, the presentation of the 20-point plan with Benjamin Netanyahu. This was a great opportunity. As you see, just a few hours later, the odds were back down. And this is the first moment I should have sold, probably. Just take a quick profit. And mostly because here you see Velina. Velina is a great geopolitical analyst / strategist. She also saw the Cold War between China and US way before everyone else, probably even way before me. So yeah, she has some pretty great insights into the long-term future in the world. And she published a post showing a statement by Qatar, Jordan, Arab Emirates, Indonesia, Pakistan, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt that welcomed the US effort to end the war in Gaza. And this was pretty unprecedented, especially seeing countries like Pakistan, Turkey, or Indonesia here. This should have just piqued my interest a bit, just flash a small red light to limit my exposure, to see that maybe this time something's different, plain and simple. And the second signal was October 4th. October 4th, as you see, is the moment the odds started to go back up and to never go down again. And they went up because the IDF announced they're halting the Gaza City offensive. And it's a pretty big signal, because you don't simply halt a very successful offensive just to start it in the next few days. Initially, I thought they are halting it because the negotiations will take time, 2, 3, 4 weeks, as they usually did. And this is like a forced gesture of goodwill. We had some of them before, but obviously in the context of the China embargo, as well as Velina's post, this is another red light that should have forced me to cut some of my position. I expect I would still end up with at least $1,000 there, but it wouldn't be free, right? Anyway, I couldn't really find any other signs. As you also see, the odds here are pretty flat between the announcement of the deal, not of the deal, of the plan of the deal, and the announcement of the halt of the Gaza City offensive. So yeah, basically two main events that should have told me to limit. And if there is any lesson for the future I would like to get, is to be more attentive to such developments, to limit exposure, especially since I can do it profitably, as it was the case here. And also to understand that I trade geopolitics. I don't have all the information the governments do, and from time to time I will get surprised. Sometimes to the upside, like I could as well be saved in some scenarios. Sometimes to the downside, as here, but that's just the part of the job. So yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to show you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have any other insights, any other theories on why we actually had the ceasefire. And once again, if you like the video, please click the like button, subscribe, and just let me know if you like the format in general. See you soon, see you on X, see you on Substack, and see you here on the next post-mortem. I hope this time it will be a green one.